Give you a little bit of history. Imagine what it was like living at the turn of the last century. You may not have had electricity in your house yet, but all of a sudden these yellow painted ladies started whizzing through the streets of New Haven. They had horse-drawn streetcars in New Haven since 1860, but in 1895 the line was electrified. Now you could go from point A to point B at 25 miles an hour. If you wonder why within the city limits, speed limit is 25 miles an hour, it's because of the trolley cars. They haven't changed in over 100 years. So this trolley car was built for the Connecticut Company in 1905. A lot of memories in this car. A lot of memories in the fleet. So it brought mothers and sons for the last time in World War I and World War II. This car saw 2 pandemics. People brought their kids to see Santa Claus at Macy's, Mally's, and Schartenberg's on this car. People fell in love on this car. New Haven was one of the Rolls Royces of the trolley system in Connecticut. There were 256 miles of trolley track within city limits. Over 782 miles of trolley line in Connecticut. You could get from every major city to every major city on trolleys. In 1926, 1927, actually at the peak of the trolley era, the golden age of transportation, was when they started cutting back on trolley lines, buses, cars, and people ask, you know, it was the oil companies. I just think, I don't believe it. I think really this mode of transportation came a little late because the Model T came right afterwards, and it was affordable and it was disposable. So I look at a car as really the beginning of our instant gratification society. You didn't need a schedule anymore.
Yeah. It's true.
Most of the trolley lines went out of service or were out of service by 1938. Hartford and New Haven continued their trolley lines. Hartford ended in 1941. New Haven was supposed to end in 1941, but World War II got in the way. You couldn't get oil, you couldn't get rubber, so they kept the trolley system until 1948. This line was built in 1900, and it connected the city of New Haven with the shoreline. Went out of service in the early morning hours of March 6, 1947, and the line was immediately deeded over to the Branford Electric Railway Association. So this is a National Historic District. It's the oldest continuously operated suburban street trolley line in the United States. This year's also going to be a milestone anniversary because on September 23rd, in the very early morning hours, trolley service ended for the state of Connecticut. So I usually tell people, if you're so inclined to turn your telephones off, just relax, go back to what was a simpler time, maybe a happier time. I'm not sure. My parents used to say, you know, when you look at photos of people from the 1930s, 1940s, they were always smiling. And my mother would say, we were ignorant, but sometimes that's not bad. So again, just enjoy the ride. We'll be stopping along the way. I'll be pointing out some landmarks that we have on our property. Mike is your trolley operator for the day.
And I have a tradition. And what I do is I present my hat to you. Most people that come here to the museum, it's a ride to them. So I wanted to find out how to engage with my passengers, such as what it costs to actually be in that time period. So your ride today would have been a nickel. Most of the time, and we're also educational, so a lot of times I get to work with kids. Cheaper to ride a bicycle or ride the trolley. You had to buy the bicycle. The problem is $1.60 a day, $8 a week, $435 a year. So why were people using trolleys? Point A to point B.
we're now at what is now the end of our line. This would have continued, if you're familiar with Brantford, it would continue down Port Street and traverse through Brantford down to Brantford Center, and eventually would have wound you up in Guilford. This was part of a 17-mile stretch of track with a short transfer of about 10 feet going from one line to another. You could make it into Chester, where it would intersect with what is now the Valley Railroad. And as I said, you could really get pretty much anywhere in the state of Connecticut on trolleys. Now, the beauty of these trolleys is that, you know, a lot of them ran in private right-of-ways that went through people's backyards. And when you got to the end of the line, there was no room to turn around. So what Mike can do over there to run the car, he can do from over there. Now, it was very important for the passengers to be comfortable. Now, you don't want to ride backwards.
Oh, that's so cool. Isn't this
To work. We'll take you back to the station. If you want to stay for the tour, we'll let you out at the yard, and then we'll trolley will come.
This is where I get my enjoyment. Okay, we don't traditionally do that on a regular basis, but it's always nice to put, you know, the special person up there to actually do the operating and stuff like that. What I will say is I'm impressed.
Wonderful areas of the museum is where we are right now. This is part of the Brantford Land Trust, and it's actually a walking trail. This used to be a quarry. There are rumors that our quarry was the pink granite that built the Statue of Liberty. I'm sorry to say that is not the case. If you go down several miles to Stony Creek Quarry, you will find it there. However, this is the Trap Rock Quarry, and the quarry that was mined from here was actually put in the base of the Statue of Liberty. So there's some truth to it. You know, the quarry line ran from 1850 and ran right along to about 1919 when there was it stopped. Let's say it stopped working. There was a little fire, and nobody's really sure as to what happened. But if you walk this line, you'll actually see the base of the foundry is still in existence. You can see the different size whatever they call them that would crush the rocks. Short Beach Bridge was actually a swing bridge at the time. They had tidal gates that would raise the level of the river so that the ships could come in, load the quarry, and go out to New Haven Harbor, Long Island Sound. The quarry was transported from the quarry to the foundry by a cable car system that ran underneath these tracks. That is not a replica of what one of the cars looks like, but you get the basic idea. Wow. Just not for rail fans, we're just not for trolley rides. I think we offer so much more. We are the best kept secret in Connecticut. Yes. And that